My friends, I've been someone who has spent more than 20 years studying personal finance, and more importantly, someone who has lived through years of struggle with money, bad decisions, and dreams I once didn't dare to chase. Today, I'm not here to teach you how to get rich. I just want to share a story about how I learned that true wealth begins with a mind that knows how to save and a heart that knows peace. I still remember clearly when I was 25. Back then, I thought financial freedom meant making as much money as possible. I worked to exhaustion, took extra shifts, invested recklessly, and lived in constant competition with time. Then one evening, sitting in my small apartment, I looked at my bank account and realized I had nothing. I had income. I had a stable job, but I didn't have freedom. Money came and went, and I was always tired, anxious, and scared about the future. I know many of you might feel the same. You work hard, yet by the end of the month, there's little left. You've heard about investing, compound interest, financial freedom, but they sound distant, like someone else's dream. I understand that because I was once there too. But then one small thing changed everything. A mentor, my very first financial advisor, told me something I'll never forget. Ben, financial freedom doesn't start with how much you earn, it starts with how much you keep. From that day, I began learning to save, not the kind of saving that cuts out all joy, but the kind that has purpose, knowing what you're saving for. I set a small goal, keep 10% of my income each month and increase it over time. At first, it was hard. I felt deprived watching my friends go out while I tracked every expense. But then I realized every dollar saved is a seed of freedom. And if you nurture it long enough, it will grow into a strong tree that shelters your entire life. One day, I came across a quote from Albert Einstein. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. At first, I thought it was just a metaphor, but when I applied it, I was amazed. Imagine this: you invest just $100 a month and let time do its magic for 20 or 30 years. The power of time and compound interest turns small dollars today into solid wealth tomorrow. No lottery, no luck, just patience and discipline. I have a friend named Linda. She once told me, Ben, I don't have enough to invest. I barely make ends meet. I told her, start with $1. What matters is that you start. She listened. Each week, she added $10 to her fund, then $20, then $50. 5 years later, Linda didn't just have savings, she had confidence. She told me, I no longer worry about next month. I finally feel peace. That's when I realized financial freedom isn't about numbers. It's about the feeling you have when you think about money. Many people think saving is sacrifice, but really saving is a choice, choosing the future over instant pleasure. We don't save out of fear. We save because we value tomorrow's peace. It's like planting a tree. You don't get shade today, but you believe that someday you or someone you love will sit beneath it. When it comes to money, I always emphasize there's no perfect formula, only the path that fits you. Some prefer stocks, others real estate or a savings account. All are right if you understand why you're doing it. Because money is just a tool. Used right, it brings peace. Used wrong, it becomes a burden. And maybe you'll be surprised when I say this. Financial freedom isn't a destination. It's a daily journey of awareness, discipline, and gratitude. I've met people rich in money, but poor in spirit. And I've met those who have little yet live freely, peacefully, and joyfully. The difference isn't in their bank accounts. It's in how they see the value of money. I share all this not to say I know more, but to tell you this. If I, someone who once failed, was in debt and feared opening my banking app, can change, then so can you. Every journey begins with one small step. And the first step toward financial freedom is learning to save, trusting compound interest, and keeping peace in your heart. So as you watch this video, ask yourself, am I living to make money or making money to live? If you feel like your time, energy, and sleep are controlled by money, maybe it's time to change. Start today right where you are. And I'll walk beside you on this journey toward freedom, happiness, and peace. My friends, let's be honest. When you hear the word saving, what do you feel? Restriction, sacrifice. Like you're being robbed of life's pleasures. I understand that. I used to feel the same. When I was young, I thought saving was for people afraid of being poor. I was ambitious, confident, full of dreams I wanted to live for today. And I did. I ate out almost every day, bought what I wanted, not what I needed, always telling myself, I'll save when I make more. But that more never came. One day I met an older man at my favorite coffee shop. He dressed simply with kind eyes and a warm smile. We talked and I asked what he did for a living. He said, I'm retired now. I live off the interest from my savings and small investments. I was curious. You must have made a lot of money then. He smiled, "No, Ben. I just made enough. But I kept enough. And what I kept keeps me at peace." That sentence lit something in me. All those years I had been chasing money but forgot the other half of the equation, keeping it. From that day I saw saving differently. Saving isn't about cutting things out. It's about making conscious choices. You don't lose when you save. You simply delay a small pleasure today to gain lasting peace tomorrow. Think of it this way. Every dollar you save is a brick. You may not see the result now, but brick by brick, you're building a wall of protection, shielding you from life's storms. Those storms might be job loss, medical bills, or simply the days you're too tired to work but can't afford to stop. I once knew a man, Thomas, a construction worker. He didn't earn much, but he had one golden rule. Always save before you spend. Each payday, he automatically transferred 15% into savings. He said, "If I don't see it, I won't spend it." When the pandemic hit, Thomas lost work for almost 6 months. While many panicked, he stayed calm, living off his savings, debt-free, stress-free. He told me, "Ben, saving didn't make me poorer. It made me free." Sometimes saving is how we respect our future selves. Because the person you're helping is you 5 or 10 years from now. Each time you save, you're sending this message to your future self. I believe in you. I want you to live with peace and stability. And here's the beauty of it: when you truly understand this, saving becomes joy, not obligation. Each time you set something aside, you feel closer to freedom, lighter inside. You no longer live with the fear of what if. That's not the feeling of wealth, it's the feeling of control. I often tell my students, you don't need to earn more right now. Start by losing less. There are so many small leaks that drain your money every day. The $7 coffee, the unused subscriptions, the impulse buys. You don't have to cut them all. Just notice them. Every expense is a choice: short-term pleasure or long-term peace. I once helped a young couple plan their budget. They told me they couldn't save. When we reviewed their spending, we found over $600 a month in little things. I didn't tell them to stop everything. I just asked, what if you saved $200 a month? In 10 years, how much would that be? They were silent. Then I showed them the compound interest chart at 8% a year, that $200 grows to more than $36,000. They were shocked. Something that small made that big of a difference. My friends, saving isn't just about money. It's about mindset, maturity, and respecting your own effort. Every dollar you save is a thank you note to yourself for your hard work and your future peace. And remember, you don't need to start big. Start with $1, $5, or $10. What matters is that you start. Like exercise, results don't come instantly, but small steps transform your life. Because in finance, time is the most loyal ally of those who save. People often ask me, "Ben, if I only make enough to live, how can I save?" And I always say it's because you only make enough that you must save. If you can't keep $1 today, you won't keep 100 tomorrow. Saving isn't about numbers, it's about habits and belief. Once you build that habit, money stops being your stress and becomes your ally. Finally, I want you to imagine this. One morning you wake up, make a cup of coffee, look out the window and realize you're no longer worried about rent bills or debt. You can choose to work not because you have to, but because you want to. You can spend time with loved ones, sleep peacefully, and chase the dreams you once postponed. That's the gift of saving: freedom and peace. Quiet, simple, powerful, and lasting. In the next episode, I'll share with you the miracle of compound interest, how small savings can multiply over time, and how to make money start working for you. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. My friends, if in the last episode we talked about saving as the foundation of financial freedom, then today I want to tell you about a silent miracle that most people overlook. A power that can turn small dollars today into real wealth in the future. It's called compound interest. Albert Einstein once said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." When I first heard that quote, I laughed. I thought, really, how could a math formula be one of the wonders of the world? But later I realized he was right. Compound interest isn't just a number. It's the natural law of growth, like how a seed sprouts, grows, and one day becomes a forest. Let me tell you a short story. When I first started working, I had two close friends, David and Mark. They were the same age, earned the same income, and had the same job. But the way they used money was completely different. David spent almost everything he made. He said, "Life is short. You've got to enjoy it." Mark, on the other hand, set aside $200 a month to invest in an index fund consistently and patiently. Not because he was rich, but because he understood compound interest. When I met them again 30 years later, David had great memories and travel photos, but not much in savings. Mark, still humble and driving an old car, had more than $270 in his investment account, all from $200 a month, thanks to time and compound interest. People often ask me, Ben, how does compound interest really work? Let me explain it simply. Compound interest means earning interest on your interest. When you invest and earn returns the next year, you earn not only on your principal, but also on the interest from the previous year. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. Here's a simple example. If you invest $1,000 at an 8% annual return after 1 year, you'll have $180. Next year, you earn 8% not just on $1,000, but on $180, and it keeps growing. It may sound small, but after 30 years, that $1,000 isn't $3,000 or $5,000, it's over $10,000. Not because you worked more, but because time worked for you. Most people underestimate time. We keep saying, I'll start saving when I earn more. But the truth is, starting early is far more important than starting big. I once created a comparison chart for my finance students. Let's say we have two people, Anna and John. Anna starts investing $200 a month at age 25 and stops at 35, only 10 years of investing. John starts later at 35 and invests $200 a month until age 65, that's 30 years. Who do you think has more at 65? The answer surprises most people. Anna does. Because her money had 10 extra years to grow with compound interest. Time, my friend, is your greatest ally and the fairest one. If you respect it, it will work for you for life. But if you waste it, you'll end up working for money all your life. I had an older client named George. He once told me, Ben, I wish I'd known this sooner. After retiring, he realized that in 40 years of work, he had earned millions of dollars but kept very little. Not because he spent recklessly, but because he never invested. His money sat in the bank, earning only a few percent less than inflation. Compound interest is like gravity, I told him. It pulls money toward the patient. He smiled sadly. And I lived too fast. You see, compound interest isn't just about money. It's a lesson in time, discipline, and faith. When you trust the process, you learn to wait. And in that waiting, you become calmer, steadier, not only with money, but with life itself. Because in both finance and life, great things are built from small actions repeated every single day. Think about your body. You can't go to the gym for 1 week and expect muscles. But if you work out just 20 minutes a day, 3 years later, you'll have a completely different body. Money works the same way. Compound interest doesn't need you to explode once it needs you to stay consistent for life. I often tell my students, investing is like planting a tree. The best time to plant was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And if you're thinking, Ben, it's too late for me, I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and remember, it's never too late to start. Compound interest doesn't only work with money, it works with habits, health, and happiness. Every day you save $1, learn one thing, or love one person, it all multiplies over time. One day I asked Linda, the friend I mentioned before, do you know what made you most successful? She smiled. It wasn't how much I invested, it was when I started. She was right. We can't control the market interest rates or luck, but we can control our actions today. My friends, compound interest isn't magic. It's a reward for those who are patient and keep their promises to themselves. Because when you invest consistently, you're not just building wealth. You're building belief that you can create change, even from the smallest steps. And I want you to remember this. No one becomes financially free overnight, but everyone can begin that journey today. In the next episode, I'll share the true meaning of financial freedom, because freedom isn't about having more money. It's about no longer being afraid of it. And once you understand that your life will change forever, my friends, there's something I want you to understand clearly. Financial freedom doesn't mean you have to become a millionaire. It's much simpler and far deeper than that. Financial freedom means no longer being afraid when you think about money. I once had a client named Linda, the same one I mentioned before. After 30 years of working, she said to me, Ben, I don't need a lot of money. I just want to sleep well without worrying about the bills. That sentence was simple, but it captured the essence of financial freedom. We don't seek money to show off, to compete, or to be better than others. We seek it so we can live the way we want. Work for joy, not out of fear. I used to live the opposite way. Every morning I didn't think about coffee or the sky outside my window. I thought I have to earn enough to pay the debt, to not miss a bill, to not get a call from the bank. I worked like a robot, forgetting why I was even alive. One night I sat in my small apartment, staring at a pile of unpaid bills, and felt my chest tighten. I realized what was draining me wasn't the lack of money, But the loss of freedom, I was being controlled by numbers. And I knew I wasn't alone. Many of us live that way. Working, paying, working again, a cycle that never ends. But then I realized something. Freedom doesn't come from your bank balance. It comes from how you manage it. Someone with $5,000, no debt and peace of mind, may be freer than someone with $500,000 but buried in stress, expenses, and fear. I once met a man named Charles, an engineer in his 50s. He earned well, drove a luxury car, and lived in a big house, but was constantly anxious. He said, "Ben, I'm afraid of losing my job, afraid the market will crash, afraid I won't afford college for my kids." When I asked, "Do you have an emergency fund?" he shook his head. He had assets but no peace. Then there was Maria, a nurse who earned half as much as Charles, but always smiled when she talked about the future. She had a 6-month savings fund, invested a little each month, and lived simply. She told me, "Ben, I don't know how much I'll have when I retire, but I know I won't be afraid." And that is true financial freedom. Financial freedom doesn't mean you stop working. It means you have the choice to decide what to do, how long to do it, and who to do it with. It's the right to live by your own values, not by pressure from others. I have a friend named Tom. After 20 years at his company, he saved diligently, invested wisely, and retired at 45. Not because he was tired, but because he wanted to teach at a local school, something he'd always loved. Tom told me, "Ben, I still work, but now I don't have to. I want to. Do you see? Freedom isn't retirement. It's the right to choose your life." Someone once told me, "Ben, I'm afraid I'll never achieve financial freedom." I asked, "What does financial freedom mean to you?" They stayed silent. And that's the problem. For many, we talk about freedom, but we've never defined it for ourselves. To me, financial freedom isn't a number. It's when you have enough to live, enough to give, and enough to sleep peacefully at night. If you're not living in fear of losing your job, your home, or your reputation, you're already freer than most. So how do we get there? I teach my students about the 3 levels of financial freedom. Level 1, financial security. This is when you have an emergency fund covering 6 months of expenses, no bad debt, and a stable source of income. You no longer panic when life throws surprises because you have a foundation. Level 2, financial stability. This is when you're not just safe, but your money is starting to work for you. You're no longer chasing every dollar because you've built a system. This is the stage of balance between earning and enjoying life. Level 3, financial freedom. This is when your passive income exceeds your monthly expenses. You can work or not, and your life still flows smoothly. You're no longer ruled by financial pressure. I call this the peace zone, the place where you live by your true values. I remember speaking with a retired woman named Margaret. She told me, "Ben, I'm not rich, but I no longer feel afraid when the phone rings." That line made me smile, because over all my years in this field, I've realized freedom isn't about having more. It's about not fearing loss. My friends, financial freedom is a journey. You don't need to move fast, only in the right direction. Every bit of saving, every wise investment, every conscious decision brings you closer to a life without fear. And most importantly, financial freedom doesn't begin with money. It begins with mindset. A mindset of enough of control, of gratitude for the present. If you only chase numbers, you'll always feel short. But if you learn to appreciate every dollar you have, every step you take, every debt-free day, then you're already living free, even if your bank account isn't full. Imagine this. One morning you wake up, open your eyes, and feel no anxiety about money. You sip your coffee, slowly read a book, or walk with someone you love. No luxury needed, just peace. That's the image of financial freedom. Not a mountain to climb, but a path you walk one step and one breath at a time. And in the next episode, I'll share what helps you keep that freedom. Something money can't buy, but builds the foundation of all happiness. Peace of mind, because money can't buy serenity, but it can nurture it. My friends, after many years working in personal finance, I've realized something important, something few people dare to say. Money can't buy peace of mind, but if you understand it well, it can nurture peace. I know you've probably heard the saying, money can't buy happiness many times. But let's be honest for a moment. When bills are due, when the hospital calls, when your kids need tuition, or when your aging parents need medicine, can you truly feel peaceful without money? I couldn't. And I believe you couldn't either. Money doesn't make us happy, but lacking it can surely steal our peace. I remember a woman named Sarah in her early 60s who came to see me for a consultation. She had a home, children, a pension, but her face was filled with worry. I asked Sarah, "What's bothering you?" She said, "Ben, I don't lack anything, but I still feel uneasy. I'm afraid of losing what I have." That sentence stayed with me because I realized many people aren't poor, but they live in fear of becoming poor. They have money but not freedom. They worry about losing their jobs, their homes, their self-worth. And that fear, that's the price money can't pay. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is this. Peace doesn't come from the amount in your wallet. It comes from your relationship with money. If you see money as your master, you'll always be controlled by it. But if you see money as your companion, you'll learn to live with it calmly, freely. I remember once a wealthy friend asked me, "Ben, I have millions of dollars, yet I still feel empty." I asked him, "Have you ever thanked your money?" He went silent. We often thank people, but rarely thank what we already have. I have a small morning ritual before starting my day. I open my bank account, look at the number big or small, and whisper, "Thank you, because today I can still pay, still live, still give." And you know what? That simple act brings me peace. Because peace doesn't come from having more, it comes from feeling enough. When I was young, I thought being rich meant being able to buy anything I wanted. But now, past 40, I've learned this. True wealth is when you no longer feel the urge to buy everything you see. It's when you sit in a simple cafe, drink a glass of water, and still feel full inside. Once I asked a friend named Thomas, "What made you happiest this month?" He laughed and said, "I just paid off my credit card debt." I laughed with him because I understood what he meant. It wasn't joy from having more money, but relief from letting go of a burden. And that burden, unseen and uncounted, is what steals the sleep of millions. My friends, money can't buy peace, but it can buy time to create peace. It can give you choices to rest when you're tired, to stay close to family, to do work you love. But only if you use it the right way. If you use money to chase status, you'll always be tired. If you use it to prove your worth, you'll always be afraid. But if you use it to build a meaningful life, to help yourself and others live better, then money becomes a stream that nourishes peace. I remember an older man named James. He was once a successful businessman, but when he grew older, he sold most of his assets, kept just enough, and began teaching poor young people for free. I asked him, "Why did you do that?" He smiled and said, "Ben, money used to keep me awake at night. Now that I use it to help others, I sleep better than ever." And I believed him, because sometimes the greatest peace comes from giving. If you're watching this video, I want you to ask yourself one question. Is money serving me, or am I serving money? That question alone can change your life. Because once you define that relationship, you'll find balance between earning and living. I often tell my students, the goal isn't to have more money, it's to have enough to be yourself. Someone may have less, but if they live with gratitude, love, and meaning, they are richer than anyone. My friends, when you understand money, you'll stop fearing it. When you respect money, you'll use it wisely. And when you know money is just a tool, not a measure of your worth, your heart becomes lighter. I don't wish for you to become the richest person in town. I wish for you to become the most peaceful one. Because in the end, true financial freedom isn't found in numbers, it's found inside you. Where no matter how strong the storm outside, you can still smile, still breathe, and say, "I am enough. I am at peace." In the next episode, I'll share with you the final secret, how to stay balanced between money, time, and soul. Because life isn't just about financial balance. It's the art of living peacefully no matter the circumstances. My friends, if you've been with me from the beginning until now, you've probably felt this. Saving teaches us appreciation. Compound interest teaches us patience. Financial freedom teaches us choice. And peace of mind teaches us contentment. But there's one final truth, the real secret to living freely and happily. Harmony. I remember one autumn afternoon sitting on the porch with my old friend Tom, the one who retired early to teach. We were sipping tea, watching the sunset. He said, "Thus to you, Ben, I used to think financial freedom meant doing nothing. But then I realized if I do nothing, I don't feel alive." I smiled because I understood. Many people spend their whole lives making money. And when they finally have it, they no longer know what to do with it. They have possessions but lose purpose. They have freedom but lose direction. Harmony means knowing when to stop, not chasing endlessly and not giving up completely. Knowing when to work and when to live, when to save and when to enjoy. I had a client named Robert in his 60s who had spent his whole life in finance. He once told me, "I spent 40 years earning money and 2 years learning how to live again." That sentence made me silent for a long time. He said that when he retired, he had everything: money, a house, stocks, investments. But he didn't know what to do with his empty time. No one needed him anymore. No more meetings, no more deadlines, just emptiness. Then one day he took an art class. He told me, "Ben, when I hold a paintbrush, I feel alive again." And I realized Financial freedom is good, but spiritual freedom is beautiful. My friends, we spend years learning how to make money, but forget to learn how to live with it. Money is like water. If you guide it, it nourishes life. If you let it overflow, it can wash away your happiness. Harmony doesn't mean giving up your dreams. It means finding rhythm within them. Not too fast, not too slow. Like breathing, when you find your pace, your heart becomes calm. Once I met a young couple, Adam and Lisa. They asked me, Ben, how can we save money and still enjoy life? I asked back, how do you define enjoyment? Adam said, traveling, buying a nice house. Lisa smiled. For me, it's having dinner together every night. Both answers were right. Because harmony isn't about splitting evenly, it's about knowing what truly matters. And when you know that you'll know where your money should go, harmony also means balancing between giving and keeping. If you only keep, you'll dry up. If you only give, you'll burn out. But when you learn to give just enough and keep just enough, life flows more naturally. I once worked with a woman named Linda. She was brilliant, disciplined, but exhausted. She saved aggressively, invested wisely, but never spent on herself. I asked Linda, do you ever reward yourself? She went silent. I said, if you can't use money to live happily, then what's the point of saving it? A year later, she texted me, Ben, today I bought a ticket to the beach. For the first time in 15 years, I didn't feel guilty spending money. And I knew she had learned harmony. There's a truth I deeply believe. Money only has real value when it helps you live meaningfully. If you have millions but can't rest, can't enjoy, can't slow down, then money owns you, not the other way around. Harmony is when you work with passion, save for security, invest for the future, and spend for joy. Not too much, not too little. Every dollar you earn, every minute you live has its own meaning. One day I asked my old mentor, the man who taught me my first lessons in finance, how do you know when you've succeeded? He smiled and said, when you can sit and drink tea without thinking about money, you've succeeded. I laughed then, thinking he was joking. But the older I get, the more I understand. Success isn't how much you have. It's how peaceful you feel with what you have. My friends, harmony is when you earn with passion, spend with reason, invest with faith, and live with gratitude. Harmony is when you no longer need to prove anything. No longer compare yourself to anyone. You simply know that each day you are living true to your values. And money, instead of controlling you, is serving you. Imagine a peaceful morning. You wake up, sunlight gently touching your window. You make yourself a cup of coffee, sit down and smile. You're not thinking about debt or fear of the past. You're simply living fully, freely, peacefully. That's the highest form of financial freedom, not abundance, but harmony. Before I end, let me leave you with this message. Life doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be enough love, enough health, enough money, and enough peace. If today you're saving, investing, or simply changing the way you think about money, be proud, because you're already on the right path. And every small step you take today is building the foundation for a freer, calmer tomorrow. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this video speaks to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes a gentle reminder can change a life. I'm Ben, and I believe that when you live in harmony with money, money becomes a bridge to peace, not a wall between you and happiness. Saving, compounding freedom, peace, harmony. One journey, one life, one free you. My friends, if you're still watching this, it's because somewhere in your heart, you share the same wish as I do, to live free, peaceful, and meaningful. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to begin. You just have to begin to become better. $1 saved today, one wise choice tomorrow, and one peaceful mindset. That's the road to true financial freedom. If my words touched you, please take a second to hit like so YouTube knows you value this message, and subscribe to join me as we continue our journey toward financial freedom and inner peace. I'd also love to hear your story. Leave me a comment below. Where are you on your financial journey? Saving, investing, or peace, which one challenges you the most? I read every comment, and who knows, your story might inspire the next video. Thank you for spending your time with me, Ben. I'll see you in the next video, where together we'll keep learning how to earn wisely, live meaningfully, and stay peaceful every day.